Guys, the New York Times just announced that the cushy tech job is dead. Let's talk about this article that's gone super viral and what I agree and disagree with. The article talks about three main things that are now gone. The first is perks, the second is job security, and the third is chill hours. It talks about how Google used to serve steak and shrimp in their cafes. As someone whose friends were all in these cushy tech jobs while I was in consulting, and I'd literally go to the offices and raid their pressed juice, I can assure you, like, all these offices still have top tier snacks. The second part is about job security. So it talks about how tech companies are way more likely to cut someone and be comfortable with that. Zuck said earlier this year that if you're a low performer, he's going to get rid of you. So I think there's less of a culture of coasting. But in terms of actual number of layoffs, this year actually hasn't been that bad when you look at previous years. The part of the article I do agree with is first it talks about how people were able to be more politically active at work before. Like, you might remember a few years ago, Google employees were super up in arms about Google working with the DoD to label data. And their advocacy actually worked out and Google canceled the contract. But now you have companies like Palantir, Anduril, Google, like basically every frontier lab directly working with the DoD. And so I think that part of this is just a political shift. Like, with Trump in office, there's less of a culture of these companies having to pretend to care about DEI. I do think the culture of like a 30-hour work week is kind of gone. And part of the reason is the rise of AI. So like even big tech companies like Google and Meta that have historically had chill cultures now have these huge AI teams. And I think because there's this whole race to see who's the first person that's going to reach AGI, these companies feel a lot of pressure to be working around the clock. And when I looked at the numbers, there has been an increase in like number of tech workers logging in on the weekends or like having meetings past 8 p.m. But I do still think there are a lot of jobs where it's not like directly related to these companies' AI departments and it's more chill. There's also a huge rise of a lot of AI startups. Like, for example, Mercor is really famous for like their 996 policy, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. And I think Cursors is actually 997. And I've seen a lot of other companies talk about it too. There was just the Cognition acquisition of Windsurf, and they told employees like, you're either here on the weekend or you can leave. We don't care. Well, I think it's totally fine that like some people want to grind. It is a little bit ironic because AI was always sold as this thing that's going to mean we work less. I feel like a lot of these things are cyclical. They have this line that says, gone are the days when Google, Apple, Meta, and Netflix were the dream destinations for tech workers offering fat salaries, lush corporate campuses, and say anything, do anything cultures. And I honestly feel like they still have all of those things. And when you compare tech to like most other jobs out of college, people are still probably going to pick it.